Okay, quickly let's look at chapter 8, bondage and liberation. When the mind desires or grieves things, accepts or rejects things, is pleased or displeased by things, this is bondage. Just spoke about this. Exactly the same thing. When the mind desires or grieves things, accepts or rejects things, is pleased or displeased by things, this is bondage. So when we buy into the story of the mind, including an idea of what enlightenment should be, then we create a limited standpoint, a limited perspective about ourselves. So be without a reference point or a position from a mental standpoint. It's completely possible. You might feel like it's a bit unsteady or wobbly for a bit shaky. Another example could be that suppose from a very young age you were told that to walk you have to use crutches. You have to use crutches, and what are the crutches we use? The crutches of our thoughts. You were told that to exist, to live, or to live well, you need these crutches of thoughts, of the mind, of this one. So then you can feel like, yes. Every few years I will upgrade my crutches to the better crutches, or improve my thoughts, make them more pure, make them better in some way. Then I will continue to function on the basis of my crutches. Then you came across one who says, why you use these crutches? You say, because without that I can't live. Somebody says, are you willing to experiment with that? Are you willing to check whether it is possible for life to continue in a very nice way without these crutches? How many are open to that? Very few. Because we have constantly been told that without these crutches you are finished. Life will be finished. Responsibility is gone. You will not be able to get out of bed. You won't do it. So, come across someone through grace who tells you, oh, come on, hold my hand and leave these crutches for 3 seconds. See what happens. You leave the crutches and say, I am fine. In fact, you start to float a little bit. Not only are you just walking, you actually start to feel good. You start to float. Then the mind comes and says, it is only because he is holding your hand. You see? This is what I hear every day. Only because now I am in Satsang, I am fine. I am able to let go of my thoughts. The minute I leave Satsang, see, it can feel like that. See? So it can feel like the presence of the master has to be there for us to drop our crutches. The master says, okay, you leave it for some more time. Let's play like this for a while, that I'm holding your hand, and you see that no trouble in walking. The fear can come as you start to float a bit. You find your feet on unsteady ground. It doesn't feel like your feet are steady. So it might feel like you're falling. Actually, you're learning to fly. You're letting go of these crutches. And then you will find that you no longer live as if you are limited by these limited ideas about yourself, but you find that only God is living as God. You find only God everywhere. In this body God, in this world God, in everything that there is God. And God is taking care of himself, or herself, the way he or she wants to. So can we leave the crutches of our thoughts? And are we willing to Are we willing to experience the fear? Because some fear will come. It might feel like a fear of death. It might feel like a fear of dissolution. It might feel like anything substantial that I've held on to is floating away. I'm telling you that it is worth it. It's completely worth it. No crutch is worth your time anymore. You had to play that way, it is fine. You play it that way. But now I want to tell all of you, let go. Nothing will happen to your life. Or let me put it another way. Only that which is auspiciousness will happen to your life. Nobody, Guruji says, nobody has come to the discovery of the self and has said, no, 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 I don't want this, give me the ego back. Nobody has said, okay, I don't want this self-realization, please, I would rather have $1,000,000 instead or something. Nobody has said this. That we could get in the phenomenal world. Otherwise, in all the sages over the centuries, at least a few would have said, okay, okay, take this back. Give me my money or give me the best relationships. Nobody has said this. And in our history, in our spirituality, there are many examples where, take the example of Nachiketa, who wants to find the immortal truth, that which is beyond death. Then the Lord of Death himself comes and says, but no, I will give you the best life, I will give you the most money, you will have the best relationships, the best you can think of. But Nachiketa stayed with this question. What is it that is beyond it? Can you show me that? Because whatever else you give me will come and go. Can you give me something which will not come and go? It is only this self. Only this. That is why no self-realized one has ever said it was a mistake. I spent so many years looking for the self and I came to this discovery and it was blah. Nobody has said. Sometimes in our initial recognitions, the mind can come and paint a picture of it and say, but that was it. But that was it. That is nothing. But it is not nothing in that way. That's why I keep stressing this point. That it is no thing, but it is so full of everything that you cannot find yourself yearning, longing, thirsting for some other phenomenon. If it is this self. And desire of grief or reject, become pleased or displeased. The mind does not desire or grieve, accept or reject, become pleased or displeased. Liberation is at hand. So when should we wait for this time? This is these kind of things sometimes they are pointing to something else, but can lead to major misunderstanding. So if we keep waiting for a time where the mind will come to this kind of state, then we can keep waiting forever. What is the pointing? The pointing is to right now. In this moment, you're empty of position, actually. You're empty of all of these grievances and desires and what you accept or reject. So liberation is at hand right now. Before you start think about it, you're empty of all of this. Every moment starts like this. Can you imagine how cool this is? That every moment you're empty of all conditioning. It's like all this burden has been taken away naturally. So in this moment, before you buy a thought about yourself, you're empty of all of this story and condition and history and whatever. So liberation is at hand now. Don't change. Don't wait for the leopard to change its spots. Don't change. Don't expect the quality of the mind to change in some way. In this moment, are you not free of it? Of course, the mind will come any moment and try to sell you the next story on the basis of which it might feel like you picked up all the prior conditioning. But what about right now? Don't wait for the opposites of the mind to cease. Don't wait for the mind to stop. You stop. See what is true now. Who is it that is here? Who are you? That you will have one moment of all conditions, you will get only one moment like this in this life. Then you will feel like, oh, I want to use that moment well. I want to come to the recognition of this self. I want to use that moment completely. Now I'm telling you that this is that moment. You had some terrible internet today, but if this was the moment of truth, if this was the moment of truth, and you had only one choice, And the only choice you had was to either believe what the mind is telling you about yourself or to let it go. Suppose you had this choice. What choice would you make? Would you again be so concerned by nominal appearances that you would leave this moment of truth and buy into the story of the false, the cat which never was? Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharishi had said that there is no difference between God, Guru, and self. So if the master is telling you that it is completely possible, are you still going to follow what the ego is saying, what the mind is saying? Bhagwan had said that if you feel like you have a choice, then your only choice is whether to go along with this stream of thoughts or not. And one day you will recognize that even this choice is only grace. But as long as it feels like you have some choice in anything at all, make this holy choice. If the mind is attached to any experience, this is bondage. When the mind is detached from all experience, this is liberation. How to attach to an experience? Thinking about it. The thought. So suppose an experience happens. Suppose all the chakras, all the Kundalini, some superb light was seen. Then how to attach to it? The thought will come saying what? You want to keep it. So then what happens is that in this I want to keep it. I want this to be the way it is. Me, this is my experience, and I want this experience to always be mine. So in this play of me and mine is attachment. Same thing is there for the opposite, which is aversion, is also the flip side of desire. It is desire with another name. So what is aversion? An experience happens and something says, I don't want this. The opposite, I don't want this. But even that, the me is still there. Who's now saying that this I definitely don't want. So the great experience is, I feel like I must only have this. At the opposite end of the spectrum, we feel like I don't. So then our life becomes this avoiding pain and running towards pleasure. Pain avoidance and pleasure seeking is the basic movement of life for many. We get attached to this. But once you see, what did the sage say? You are the shoaless ocean in which the arc of the universe is moving up and down. You are neither enhanced nor diminished by it. Which means what? That you remain untouched. Then we are not clamoring for certain experiences and we are not pushing aside other ones. And everything is met with a sense of openness. Various tools to help us get to this openness. If you have been blessed by some devotion, some sense of surrender, it is the best. If something comes, okay, not my concern, it's my father's problem. If you feel like we are in a different temperament and we like to understand everything, then say, who is the sufferer? Who is the enjoyer of this experience? Is there an Ananta here who is suffering or enjoying any experience? And that which is the true doer and experiencer, is it affected in reality by the content of the experience? That's why Bhagavan had said, surrender or inquire. I'm sure he also meant or both. Whatever you feel. And many years ago, I read this beautiful scripture called the Narad Bhakti Sutras, in which something stuck with me even now. Not much is stuck actually, to be honest. I want to revisit it maybe someday, but this stuck, which it said, treat everything as an offering to the Lord, whatever it might be. Whatever the content of your experience might be in this moment, an offering to the Lord. Surrender. Our best experiences, our worst experiences, desire, as she rightly said, becomes this idea that I must have only this. Aversion becomes the idea that I must not have this. And everything is an offering at the feet of the Lord. Then nothing is any trouble. Nothing is for me. And as nothing is for me, then this idea of me itself starts to dissolve. Often it starts like this. Like the other day, maybe your friend or someone came and she said, actually, not sure if I really get much of what you're saying. Can you give me some simple idea? Is it some simple thing? I said, what is it that you enjoy? So she says, I like to pray sometime, if I remember correctly. Maybe I'm paraphrasing. She said, I like to pray sometime. I said, that is very good. Now you stay with that and you notice how your prayer will move. Prayer might start with saying, yes, God, I'm praying to you. Please take care of my life. And as this prayer continues, then it changes into, yes, Lord, I'm praying to you. But do with this life as you want. It's yours. Then it progresses to that who is praying and that who is being prayed to are only you, my Lord. All of this is your play. So even in the simple path of prayer, devotion, you can come to this truth. There is only one. There are no two. So whatever path you pick, as long as the longing in the heart is for the truth, and you're not lying to yourself. See, I would say, usually I say longing in the heart is for the truth. And second quality I would add is you're no longer lying to yourself. Lying to yourself means just this like mental self-denial or self-aggrandization. If you stay with your direct insight, you're not making up fancy ideas, nor are you making up unworthy ideas. In your heart, you're longing for the truth, then you can walk on any path. There is nothing here which says it has to be this satsang or something like that. Anything that you do with this longing, and you do it with the integrity, as Maharaj used to say. This integrity means stay with the truth of your direct experience. Don't go with fanciful or terrible ideas. If the mind is attached to any experience, this is bondage. When the mind is detached from all experience, this is liberation. What does this mean? Does this mean that it becomes like a lifeless, this world becomes very bland or something? No. Detached means that we keep this mantra, what's in it for me, out of the equation. You're not looking at things and saying, is this for me? What can I get out of this experience? Can I keep this forever? We keep the me out of this. Just stay with what it is. Often I speak about this, that the first time I saw a flower was very late in life. I'd seen many flowers visually, but the first time I saw it, without an interpretation and a judgment, it felt like I'm seeing it for the very first time. When you start to experience the world in this way, you will be surprised at the vibrancy and the beauty and the wonder of it. The Maha Mantra of the ego is, what's in it for me? And we learn to keep that aside. It's just coming and going, and it doesn't bother us. It doesn't get belief. You see that there's so much wonder in every moment. Now, we're sitting here. He doesn't need this interpretation, but just to point to something. We're sitting here talking about freedom on the day of India's independence. Just beings from all over the world, in both this format and also this technology thing, talking about something that some ancient sage, I don't know how many thousand years ago, supposedly this conversation happened between a king and a sage. And we're revisiting that after so many thousands of years, sitting in this auspicious day today. It's so wonderful. But even without this layer of interpretation, taste this moment for what it is. Tell me if you don't see God. After Satsang, actually the other day we put on this video again. And I said that it's one of my favorites because it's so straightforward. Like this one comes and says, Papaji helped me to see God. And Papaji tells the story of this child and how in her faith it was so clear to her that God is here to the extent that God took her chocolate. And he shared that story. Then he says, okay, you do this on the weekend or tomorrow, something like that. Then Papaji said, actually, why wait till tomorrow? What do you see now? So this one says, I don't see God. And Papaji said, I told you not to doubt. Don't is doubt. So drop the don't. And what do you see? He says, I see God. Is it? Now, is this some mental trick? Is this just some wordplay? Taste this presence of your being. Be here now. This is God. This is God playing. So the world does not become one insipid sort of appearance. Because many times we see like that it's an appearance and beyond it. Then it can seem like, oh, it will become very boring or lifeless or something like that. Is it? But it's not that. In fact, the true vibrancy, the true essence of even this phenomenal appearance, we start to see when we just taste it for what it is. Taste this moment. God tasting himself. The last verse for today. When there is no I, there is only liberation. When I appears, bondage appears with it. Knowing this, it is effortless to refrain from accepting and rejecting. When there is no I, there is only liberation. When I appears, bondage appears with it. Knowing this, it is effortless to refrain from accepting and rejecting. So the term I is very confusing and lead to a lot of trouble. I, Guruji has defined it best, I feel, is the chameleon eye. This chameleon eye can be applied to various things. You apply it to this body, you apply it to the mind, you even apply it to our attention. Oh, I'm sorry, I was driving, but I was somewhere else actually. But me, the attention was somewhere else. Attention. We apply it to being. I am that I am. And we also apply it to the absolute, the self, awareness. Self, I. Now, what does the sage mean when I appears? Therefore, it must be that changing I. So, what he means here is this individual sense of individuality, this egoic I. So the I is most often applied to this sense of person, which is a strange combination of, in our minds, is some strange combination of body and mind put together. There is no such entity there, but it feels like a valid entity. This I, this is what the sage is referring to, the sense of a separate existence, this I. Whereas when this I appears, then the bondage seems to appear. The appearance of bondage is just an appearance. Just like the appearance of this I is just an appearance. Now, how is it that we can buy this idea of individuality? I was saying to Vaid Rama yesterday that if the task was to do it, if the task was to suffer, you're feeling like you're missing it. See, the now is too empty of suffering. So if the project now was the reverse, which is to how do you suffer? How would you do it? Only through identification with thought. So only through our belief, our identification with thought, does it feel like this bondage of I is real. There is no person without belief in this thought. This. So in this way then, when we bind to the idea of our individuality, then bondage is not bound to feel real. When we remain empty of this belief, then we cannot suffer. Such a simple way. Can it be that simple? Can you suffer without thinking about it? And I'm not even saying you have to withdraw your attention from thoughts. If attention feels like it is going to thought, it is fine. As your belief is more and more withdrawn, you will find that attention also doesn't get so attracted, that feel that thoughts are so magnetic. Some of you, especially those who are new to satsang, might feel like there's a but something which is relevant, which is true for you. And I say, don't believe your next thought. Some of you might get a thought which is saying, but is it? What is going to something? Mostly a projection about the future of some sort. Some fear of security, something. So just like that crutch, which is saying, what will you do without me? You will fall. I'm saying to all of you that you stay with me in the heart. Everything will be taken care of. You're moving away from experiencing this world as an ego, moving away from the sense of experiencing this world as an ego to coming to this simplicity of being, effortless existence. See, many times the thoughts come like this, say, but without me, what are you going to do in the future? And what's going to happen to you? You're just going to make a mess of your life. Don't follow this point. This kind of fear. As if it's done such a smashing bang up job of it so far. Knowing this, it is effortless to refrain from accepting and rejecting. What does it mean? It's just effortless. You let this I come and go. I thoughts come and go. Towards acceptance, towards rejecting the cause. Nothing. Just the letting go. Just this remaining open. So this was chapter 8 where we discussed the contrast, the seeming contrast between bondage and liberation.